In the summer holidays, one happy family have decided to take a vacation to the waterfall, with Rob as father, Margaret as mother, Em as eldest daughter, and Ollie as youngest son. They spent this time creating laughter and happiness together. You can call it a happy family. The next morning, Margaret and Rob also agreed to go out hiking, while daughters like Em sit and wait at the camp. Before leaving, Em took a picture of her parents, without her even knowing. That picture will be the last photo she will see of her father and mother's smile. After Mom and Dad left, Em heard something strange until she felt suspicious, and Em came in asleep in the car. Suddenly, there was a white car coming through, which is Chuck and German cars. They were two best friends who were hunters around here. While both of them were standing and peeing, Chuck accidentally glanced to see Em. She was in the car, so he called German to see. As soon as the man snatched, saw a beautiful girl in front of him, he invited his best friend to do something. At that time, Chuck warned him that the reason why he was in prison, did you forget? But how could someone like German care? Because now he's free. After giving his German friend an encouraging pat on the shoulder, he went out to look out, and Chuck tried to open the door of Em's car. Suddenly, she was shocked and woke up, because she saw the erotic posture of Chuck looking. She quickly honked the car for help, but that makes Chuck more lustful. Meanwhile, Em's father and mother aren't far away and heard the car horn. They understood that the child was signaling for help, so they rushed back to the camp. German, who was on the lookout, hurried back to the car along with cursing friends who make noise because it'll make things harder. So the German took the gun and threatened Em to get out of the horn. She was just a 14-year-old girl who had to face something like this. She was so scared that she couldn't control herself and accidentally peed her pants, which was embarrassing. And as soon as Chuck and German saw the urine flowing down the girl's legs, it makes them feel even more excited, like they're watching an aphrodisiac. Rob suddenly ran in to save his daughter, but because he was alone, couldn't do much, and he was also beaten up by the two men. Margaret, who had followed, quickly hid her youngest son in the camp before coming out to help her daughter and husband. She tried to stall them all her life to get her daughter away. But it's not that simple. When the German threatened to shoot her father, that makes him want to give them up again. After tying hands and mouth, they began to spread him before forcing the trio to walk into the woods and then rape Em and Margaret in front of Rob while seizing Em's mobile phone, and also filmed the clip. After committing their despicable acts, they watched the clip with delight before scrolling down to the photos Em had taken with her parents. There's a picture of her brother in there, so the German asked Margaret about it, but she wouldn't answer. She kept staring at her son's picture with desperate eyes. But they didn't waste any time and invited their friends to continue the activity, which they called the eye test game, starting with Chuck. They shot the guns at the couple as if they were hunting animals, and the victim it chose first was Rob. That bullet immediately punctured the Rob skull, killing him in front of his wife. The incident caused Margaret to cry out in pain. She too had been shot in the chest. As for Em, she was the luckiest person because she didn't have to see her parents get shot to death right in front of her eyes, because she was still unconscious after being gang raped. But even so, she did not survive because they shot at her body several times, causing her to die without knowing it. After killing the whole family, the two bastards' men left the forest without looking back at the unfortunate victims again. 2 days later, a man named Lan also came by to ask German for directions, because he's going to set up camp at the waterfall, which is the same place where Em's family was abused. So the Germans tricked Lan go camping somewhere else instead. But that Lan doesn't care, because this time he came to camp, he intended to go on a date with his beautiful girlfriend Sam. When he arrived, Lan seemed displeased when he saw that someone else had arrived before him, causing him to miss a good camping spot. And that night, those two bastards went to a nightclub. They just casually cracked flirting jokes. But eventually, the girls got tired of his jokes and their lustful looks. Sam woke up and felt suspicious when there was no sign of the camp owner next to her. She invited her boyfriend to go and check, before saying that we should report it to the police because she felt something was strange. But when the two of them went to the car to leave the forest, it turned out that their car tire had a flat. Lan told his girlfriend to wait at the campsite while he changed the tire himself. But while he was changing the tire, his girlfriend suddenly screamed. He rushed back to the campsite and saw that his girlfriend had found an unconscious baby, which was Rob and Margaret's youngest son, Ollie. The couple quickly discussed what to do because their car was beyond repair. Suddenly, Chuck, who knew that someone was camping in the forest, pretended to drive over to greet Lon and his girlfriend, who told him that they had found a baby in the middle of the forest. He had no idea that he was the one who killed the baby's parents. When Chuck turned to Sam, Lan's girlfriend, he began to have evil thoughts in his head and made up a trick that I knew this forest very well because I often hunted here. First, we had to help each other find the child's parents. Lon trusted him completely before following him into the forest. When Lon separated from his girlfriend, Chuck was so happy that he couldn't contain his lust. When he arrived at the killing field, Lon rushed to see the bodies of the father and daughter. It turned out that they were already dead. The person who did it started to worry when he saw that Margaret's body, which was supposed to be there, had disappeared. As for German, who returned home, he saw the message his friend had left, so he hurriedly followed her to the waterfall before meeting Sam, who was waiting for her boyfriend in the car. She told him the whole story, not knowing that this man was another bad man. Meanwhile, Chuck used his hunter skills to track down Margaret, who was lying weak on the ground. Lon did not hesitate to rush to her aid, but before she could say anything, the bastard raised his gun and shot her. The gunshots echoed throughout the forest, and Sam and German heard them. German knew immediately that his stupid friend had done something out of control, so he prepared his gun to eliminate her. Sam, seeing that things were not going well, quickly hid in the car, but that was not enough to do anything to him. He used the butt of the gun to smash the car window before pulling Sam out. However, Sam is not like him. She grabs a knife and fights the German before successfully cutting off his hand. She then carries the child and runs away into the forest. Meanwhile, Lon, who knows that he has been tricked, tries to beg for his life. Of course, Chuck didn't want to kill him right now because he wanted him to see his wife being raped in front of him, so he took the opportunity to push him until he fell down and ran away. Of course, Chuck wouldn't let it go easily and he chased after it. Meanwhile, Lon hid behind a tree because he thought that he wouldn't be able to escape. Chuck was starting to get annoyed. He tried to look for footprints and listened intently. As soon as he heard movement, he shot in that direction immediately. At first, he thought he had killed Lon, but it turned out to be his best friend, German. Even though he didn't die, he was badly injured, and at that moment, Ollie, who was with Sam, started crying loudly, which made Chuck know his location. And he found her in a few minutes. He ordered her to go back to his friend who was lying dead. German thought that he would not survive and would suffer in vain, so he asked his friend to shoot him after he killed his friend. The kid Ollie was shocked by the gunshot and screamed again, which annoyed Chuck so much that he snatched the kid from Sam before throwing it away carelessly. Then he shouted to Lon. Lon, who was listening, felt extremely angry, but he suppressed his own cries and did not let them leak out. On the other hand, that bastard had tied Sam to a tree and began to harass her calmly. Before telling Sam how could she have such a selfish man as her boyfriend? How could he be so cowardly to leave her and survive on his own? Sam didn't think so. She was more proud of her boyfriend for choosing to help the little boy when he had nothing to lose. Sam took the opportunity to swerve the steering wheel, causing the car to lose control and crash into a tree. Not long after, Lon returned with the police to help his girlfriend. Chuck was the one who shot him, shouting at Sam that if he didn't come out, he would shoot her boyfriend in the head, leaving Sam with no choice. Chuck let Sam drive the car, with the injured Lon lying in the back seat and him sitting next to the driver. Meanwhile, Sam asked her boyfriend if the child was safe. The answer he got from her boyfriend disappointed her so much that she couldn't control her emotions. When Lon said that he didn't save the child, she started to step on the gas pedal until it was full before suddenly turning the car over as she wanted. Resentment, disappointment, and despair made her drag her body out of the car and grab a rock to smash the bastard's head until he couldn't get up again. The next morning after the shocking incident, Sam and Lan were rescued and treated in a hospital. Sam visited Lan with eyes and a face full of indescribable guilt. The film then ended without saying whether the couple would get back together or not, because Lan's actions were really selfish. As for the baby, we'll skip over it because it's really depressing.